Our project is finished. Our 0 to KSM project is finally finished. 9 days it took us for this level 1 druid to become a 460 item level guardian druid with Keystone Master. This was a journey, and let's talk about it. Hello everyone, my name is Sylah, and I hope you are doing well and staying safe out there. I hope the holidays were good to you. This is the day where our level 1 druid from the Argent Dawn realm finally hit Keystone Master. And this project was eye-opening for multiple reasons. I think one of the biggest ones was just how unprepared I was to actually go into tanking. Being a DPS player, I always thought that tanking was going to be really easy, and it was just about knowing routes and knowing how to plan out your cooldowns, but there's so much more when it comes to trying to learn the tank itself. And in all honesty, I'm very happy that the class that was chosen for me was one that I didn't know. It added such a level of complexity to the whole project. I had to look up several guides at a time just to figure out how to play the Guardian Druid. And a lot of people will probably see this video and say, "Oh, Guardian is so easy, there is nothing to worry about." Oh my. I was not prepared to, I wouldn't say deal with the problems that Guardian has, but Guardian certainly was not the easiest tank for me to play during this project. Mostly because the dungeons in the pool, most of them just dealt magic damage the whole time. And I didn't feel like I had enough tools against that. Whereas if I was given like Blood Death Knight, I think I would have performed far better. But enough of my waffling. This is a catalogue of the journey going from day 1 to day 9. It only took us 9 days of stream time. Obviously having some time off to spend time with family for the holiday season. And yet, we stand today on the 28th of December with another Keystone Master, and this time on a role that I have never done before. And I've met a lot of people on the way, and I've also brought friends with me on the way as well. For example, in the background clip right now, this is of day 1 with our friend Grass Tickler, who I commonly called on stream Toecat. He's actually one of my real partners, and it was his first time in Dragonflight going to get Keystone Master. This is now my 2nd season. My first Keystone Master was on the North American realm, but it was really fun bringing friends along with the journey. We all had a chance to go level up a class together and just kind of play through and see how far we can get with it. Now, when I was adding all the clips in for this, I seen that there were so many for me to go through. But on this day, this was day 4 for the clip that's playing in the background, where we joined our first Keystone ever. This was a +2 Waycrest Manor. And Waycrest Manor to me was probably one of those dungeons that I didn't realize it would have been so difficult at the time at higher keys, because obviously +2s, you don't particularly tend to care, and you just rush through as fast as possible. I believe, if I remember correctly, the group I had, it was a Demon Hunter, Demon Hunter mage. It was an Arcane mage. at least from my understanding. I'm actually trying to watch it through the little viewfinder right now on our video, but it is very small on that sense. And the mage itself, like, I was constantly looking at the damage that I was doing as well as a tank, and I know that, well, in all honesty, I don't know if looking at your tank damage is something that you really want to be doing, but it was always a struggle. Trying to think to myself, saying, am I doing enough? And I think one of the biggest parts of the project that made me, I'd say my first couple of dungeons I wasn't too confident. Just constantly, even though I've ran these dungeons several times on my warlock, but doing it as a tank and trying to learn the routes and so on, like, commit them to memory was definitely a challenge. And after I did it for a day, it was fine. There was nothing I needed to worry about at that point. But it was still a bit of a challenge for me, trying to commit all these routes to memory. And I kept asking the first couple of healers, like, hey, how am I doing on this? And majority of them were telling me, yeah, you're fine, you don't need to worry about it. So day 4 wasn't a problem. Day 5, oh my, day 5 was a very, very taxing day for me. And in fact, it is this particular dungeon, the Darkheart Thicket 8. This was the dungeon that made me wonder, do I want to continue this project? Because while I was recruiting for keys, and me being a primary DPS player, I always knew that I had to learn the movements of my tank, learn the positions of where I can be, and mostly because I play Destruction Warlock, it's far more difficult for me to basically try and see what is going on with my tank. And it gave me an understanding of where I can be to push out as much damage as I can and not need to worry about it. But this dungeon itself, this Darkheart Thicket 8, was probably the one that made me think, oh my, is this what the rest of the project is in for? And it was all because of one DPS player. And I'll be honest, I was not a happy person during this dungeon. I was extremely salty at the end of it. There was so many problems that happened. We had people pulling, multiple mobs. We had a mage who, in fact, there was 2 mages. It was only one of them. Things just kept getting pulled, and we ended up, I think we only won +1 to this key. But I was telling people, please watch your ass. And it's not a lie to say that anyone who uses the add-on Elitist Helper, please just don't. It's pretentious as hell. I think that was my biggest one, is it's really pretentious. But I just kept getting frustrated at this one group, and my routing started to get a bit messy because of it. And ultimately, this was a run that taxed me very heavily in terms of wanting to continue the project, because I, as a DPS player, if I was to play DPS, I would never get that mad if someone, you know, pulled by accident, because that's just an extra mob that I can parse on. But as a tank, it was a completely different mind shift. It felt strange, because I honestly felt that one small mistake from the DPS could have cost us an entire run. And ultimately, I was still learning tanking mechanics at this point, because most of the mechanics that I've been doing never involved me to position things. In fact, my Darkheart Thicket 8 was far different from the run that I got Keystone Master in, because I ended up doing, I think it was a 16 for my final run. But I was just so frustrated at this run, and I thought to myself, this one might be the one that breaks the camel's back, but I'm glad that I didn't let it get to me that hard. Even though the guys in my stream that day, I have to apologize that you guys had to put up with me basically being that salty. I am really, really sorry. But yeah, I always found myself glancing at that DPS meter as a tank thinking, okay, I need to gauge how far my group are doing, how well they're doing in terms of damage, and am I doing enough in terms of damage myself? Because ultimately, generating threat, I am doing damage. So I wanted to make sure I was doing well, and anytime I seen a DPS do less than me, I always thought, okay, is this a class that, you know, has to ramp up a lot? And this Dark Art Thicket 8 kind of proved that, you know, there is just terrible players out there. I hate to say it, but there are. And the only thing that we can really do as more seasoned players is just kind of accept it. Now, I did go on a rager about this one. In fact, I talked about it on day 6 as well. Just saying, look, I'm, you know, like, this really knocked me in terms of how I felt. And then I remembered the whole reason why I did this project. And I honestly felt kind of ashamed at myself. Because ultimately, it's elitist nature that tended to make me want to do this project to begin with. And I was slowly turning into what I didn't want to be. I was becoming extremely toxic to certain people who may not have known what they were doing. And I made sure for the next couple of days, from day 6 to 9, that I just didn't let it get to me that much. There was a couple messages that I put in chat, you know, like, seriously, when people messed up mechanics, but that happens. But this whole project did give me an insight to my own understanding of the game as well. And now that I've done the Keystone Master project on a tank, I have so much more respect for players who are playing tanks. You know, like I said, it's not just down to, oh, you need to know your route, you need to know your class. Like, you're also looking at your group and you're thinking, what can I do to make this a bit easier? And in fact, the current week that we were in, the Afflicted week, is brilliant for Guardian Druid. I was being able to clear as many of the afflicted mobs as I possibly could because of my Dream of Cenarius town. And dungeons where most of the damage was physical, I was having a blast. You know, I was able to tank multiple hits and not even need to care about it. But yeah, that Dark Heart Thicket was a hard one. Then we had this one, the plus 13 on Dawn of the Infinite, where players just, our team didn't absorb the orbs, and this was my key as well. Should have mentioned the Dark Heart Thicket was also my key. And I thought, as soon as I seen 2 people dead, I was like, okay, right, I'll do a quick battle res on it, we'll see what happens. The orb phase came around again, and yeah, everyone just died. I thought, seriously? And I did say it in chat, but you know, and a bunch of us in stream were talking about it, and bear in mind, this was the day after my rager at the mage. But I just soaked it up. I just said, seriously, we moved on, and then we slammed the boss, and everything was fine at that one there. I think the dungeons that I did struggle with mostly was Dawn of the Infinite, just because most of the damage was magic. Waycrest was another one. Dark Heart Thicket ads was really difficult. Everbloom was never a problem on Guardian Druid. I never struggled in Everbloom. I'm trying to think what else is in the pool right now. It'll come to me later. Oh yeah, Blackroot Hold. That one was fun. especially on a Guardian Druid. I was pulling monstrous amounts of mobs and just not even caring. I thought to myself, it's fine. I have so many stacks of Iron Fur. I have so many stacks of this, that, and the next thing, and everything was fine on that one. So I was never too worried about how, those kind of dungeons went. But both Dawn of the Infinite dungeons were ones that I honestly felt that things were getting a little bit difficult. Just the damage that came through from them was, I think, if I was to really sit down and think about it, it would probably be Murazon's Rise. Definitely felt a lot harder than Galakron's Fall. And there was one player, I will try and remember that player's name, it was a Demon Hunter, who told me about a skip on Fortify Week. And I honestly have never thought to myself there is a chance that I would have ever thought of that. So if this Demon Hunter player, he'll know exactly who he is, or she is, or they are. They'll know who they are, because if they ever see this video, it was an honest pleasure playing with you, dude. And I will try and remember your name. I'm so sorry that I forgot. To be honest, I forget everyone's name every now and again, so I do apologize. But oh yeah, when it came to doing these dungeons, I forgot for the first couple of weeks, or first day I'd say, about swapping talent builds to, sort the affix out. I honestly forgot several times. Oh, that was a mistake. That was such a mistake. But we learned from it. And it was funny because that day when it was the Incorporeal week, I thought to myself, oh, it's fine, I'm the tank, everybody's gonna deal with this. No, they weren't. No, they were not. And I think the plus 11 Dawn of the Infinite I had, I'm pretty sure I did the first boss completely wrong. With the big AoE and the soak, I'm pretty sure that I was supposed to take those, but I noticed in hierarchies anyone was just taking them. So we ended up soloing one of the bosses from that one. And all of these runs, there were so many highs and so many lows, but I think this project has definitely been a fun one to undertake, and we might do it again. Which does bring on to a question that my stream asked me before I ended today, which was, what am I going to do with SylahUmehara on the Argent Dawn realm? And the honest answer is, I don't know. What I can probably say is that character will stay there. I may play it every now and again, but ultimately I am a Warlock main, and I will continue to play Warlock. Was tanking fun? Yes. Would I recommend someone to try tanking? Yes. Would I continue to tank on other classes that are able to tank? Probably not. And the main reason why I say that is it was so taxing. Because I always found, to myself especially, that there was a few circumstances that could happen. If you couldn't time a run properly, 9 times out of 10, it's a DPS issue. If you always felt you had to run back to get percent, that's the tank's issue for not knowing the route. And obviously if there's too many deaths, or just silly things, that's normally a healer issue when it comes to mechanics, but if it's just people are dying outright, then it's an everyone issue. There was more I had to think about while playing tank than doing anything else in World of Warcraft. And ultimately, that came to the culmination of a beautiful plus 16 BRH that I ran as the very last run before I ended my stream, where we did get Keystone Master on our druid here. And it was a little bit sad because the achievement is global across your account. Or not global, sorry, it's account bound to the region, of course. But that plus 16, it was just after doing a plus, what was it? I think it was a plus 15 that I did. I think it was a plus 15 Galacrond. Where we had a really silly wipe because the Evoker and the Demon Hunter were the same ones that we had from the previous runs. And honestly, it was great just having like-minded people who just wanted to do some keys. And don't get me wrong, we had a couple deaths, some of them mostly my fault. I ran into the rock a couple times and got myself splatted. I ran out of cooldowns. In fact, looking back at this clip here, I still had 2 charges of Frenzied Regeneration. Not as if that would help much, but I still had it. And I remember saying to the healer, like, just after the mobs went down, I was like, how many stacks was that? Was that 5 or something? I think that was exactly what I said. I think I did say. It'll show up. Oh yeah. How many stacks was that? 5? And the healer just said, too many. Or too much is the answer is what they said. And I just remember typing, I concur with this answer. Or I concur with this statement, something along the lines of it. I'm actually wandering about my room right now. I finally bought a new headset. I hope the mic quality is good. It's a wireless one again, because my other one, the wires just kept getting tangled and frayed, and I think that's what ultimately led to having poorer audio quality, because people on my stream were telling me that there was some sort of static coming through every now and again. So hopefully that is now fixed. Otherwise, there's another issue I'll need to deal with. But this whole project, I believe, was a resounding success. Most of the classes that we brought in were not really meta classes or meta specs. Well, they were. Some of them were. Ultimately, I just looked at people's IO. And if I see that their IO was far higher than mine, I just didn't take them. And that gave more people the ability to get where they want to be, to get their IO. But it always leads to that final thing. And it's the end goal. And I believe this shouldn't be the end for this kind of project. And I would like to go do it again. Maybe we'll do the healer version. Maybe we'll do another DPS. Maybe we'll do a melee, because I've not done a melee yet. But I want to focus a bit more on, I guess, helping other people with getting these achievements. I don't like saying carrying people, but I want to be able to facilitate, you know, how can I say it in a smart way? I want to be able to give people the opportunity to push their key and do better for themselves, and we can all play together. So although I am back at work on the 2nd of January, I will still be streaming every now and again. We'll still do our Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Might add an additional day in. I'm still trying to do study as well, so we'll see where that leads. And I do really want to see more people come in so we can all play together. You know, I'm still going to go for my 3k achievement on my Warlock. I'm still going to go and advertise my key for people who may want to join. I'm still going to be joining low keys to basically pump straight through them, kind of like a little self-flex, but mostly to help people. And I think that's kind of something that just disappeared after a while, you know? Just that little bit where we wanted to help people. That whole just disappeared. And I don't know why. But I think I've rambled enough on this whole topic. The project was a success. The druid is Keystone Master. I may continue to play it. I may leave it for a while. We're definitely going to be playing more Warlock. And we're definitely going to advertise the key that we're doing. While we push up to 3k, we're going to help other people. So if you guys do want to join in, and we can play your key, we can push your key up as high as we can get better at the game together. All you gotta do is head over to the stream. If I'm live, I'll most likely be doing keys unless I'm playing something else. And to all the people who I've met on my journey, some good, some bad, I honestly hope that if you guys are aiming for something similar, that you guys get there, because everybody who I've played with so far, except from that one guy, but I'm assuming that was just an off day, so we're just going to leave that be. But everybody has the chance to get Keystone Master and to prove that something like this is possible on a non-meta tank. And in all honesty, Guardian Druid felt far better than what I anticipated it to be. So I want to thank you guys for joining me on the journey to Keystone Master, and I wish you all the best. Take care of yourselves, and have a good one, and we'll see you all later. Bye bye.